And that was the code phrase for having sex, was your wifely duties. It is an obligation a wife must endure. And Queen Victoria said, I just lie back and think of England. I just take one for the home team, okay? That's what you should do, Sam. Lie back and take one for the home team. It's your patriotic duty.
The privilege of having babies is something you must endure.
Yes, and these phrases, which, by the way, this is, and this idea was so profound. For example, up until the 1970s, in most states in the United States, it was not illegal. Okay, let me rephrase this. You could not rape your wife, because women could not refuse men sex if they were married, because it was considered part of their marriage contract. It was your wifely duties. That's so enlightened, okay? And so sometimes, I mean, this legacy is pretty long-standing, okay, and it was enduring for quite a while. So the thing was, this led to some weird medical diagnoses. And so in the 19th century, women, because again, remember, they're not supposed to have any sexual feelings, right? But women began to experience certain feelings like irritability, excitability. They feel flushed, a little feverish. Their skin would feel prickly. They would suffer from vaginal moistness. And clearly this must be a disease. Okay? And this disease was given a name, hysteria. Hysteria, which comes from the Greek root hysteros, which means uterus. So there's where the problem was. Okay? It's all about you women having a disease. Because we wouldn't call it what it was, which was being horny. Because that would be bad. And so as a result, having this hysteria, this hysterical thing, doctors prescribed various things, including, for example, taking tinctures, taking medicine in order to cure the hysteria. Okay? But they also were supposed to engage in, if in some cases, they would engage in massage of the afflicted area.
That's a horrible one.
What? No, they were supposed to massage the afflicted area, which they would do so until, you know how with like a fever breaks that, you know, you just all that. Well, apparently when a woman was afflicted with hysteria, after a long massage of the afflicted area, a woman would enter into a state known as hysterical paroxysm, at which point she would have a bit of a seizure, and then it would emerge from the paroxysm, having had her fever broken, the conditions would abate, and eventually would lead to a cure. Okay? Now again, this may seem, and I apologize if this seems odd, this is an advertisement. This is for Dr. Swift. and for there, where gentle massage will fix the disease of all the mid-quarters, from neck to knee. Clearly he found the midsection. But this is a real advertisement that was saying that you had to do this in order to cure hysteria. You'll notice that this is the thing, and this is quite serious. Women actually, it was considered immoral or immodest for them to disrobe for a doctor from the chest to the tailbone. And so if you had a cut or a festering wound or something, women often died because they went unexamined, because certain areas were considered verboten for doctors to take a look at. And so if you were sick, you could get in real trouble if it was there.
And there were no woman doctors, so.
Oh yeah, you know, so yeah. And it doesn't matter if your name is Quinn Medicine Woman, right? Okay? But the thing was, this is actually, as much as you might joke and others, doctors hated this procedure. They absolutely hated it. And the reason was they couldn't charge much for it, but it took them forever because they were no good at it. Apparently they didn't know the territory. Okay, and so as a result, it took them hours until you could get a woman to hysterical paroxysm. And during all that time, you could have been making many more house calls and making a lot more money. And so, of course, if you can't do something by hand, and this is the industrial age, what do? You make a machine. Okay, and what became known is, for a period of time in the United States, we created what was, now this is from the Sears catalog. Okay, remember the Sears catalog? Mm-hmm. And so you could buy your personal portable vibrator for $6. Okay, which was, and notice, very useful and satisfactory for home service. Okay, to help you with those disease afflictions in the midcourse. Okay. By the way, I'm sorry I don't have the full page here because the full page also includes. It actually is an ad that says from the Sears catalog that says what every woman in the household needs. Okay. But this is my favorite. This was for the Sears motor. The Sears motor was this. It was like a standalone unit, like a canister vacuum cleaner, that then had an attachment that looked like a drill. And then you attach attachments to the drill. And so you would have a fan blades where you could make a fan, okay, and cool yourself. You could have a saw to saw through things. You could have a drill bit to drill. You could put in egg beaters to beat your eggs. And you could also, for $1.35, buy your vibrator attachment for the Sears motor. Okay, which just goes to prove you want to be very careful and not screw up the attachments. Okay, now this is a 20th century item. Okay, and this is all real. I know that this you might be giving. Oh, Janelle, you're making it up. I'm not making it up. This is all real. Okay, I didn't do it. Wasn't there. I didn't sell it. Okay, it was just there. And this was considered a normal household device. This was not considered something that was unpleasant or rude or whatever. Indeed, actually, the worst part of it, now, if you are of a sensitive nature, shield your eyes, okay? This is there. But in the 19th century, they came up with other prototypes because this is electric, right, okay? They were trying to do this during the age of steam. This is actually an item that is in a museum. And it is a steam-powered... You just take one look at that and you say, that would kill me, okay? That was the end of that. But that was, by the way, that was interesting, a prototype that was rejected by the patent office. But you can imagine how dangerous that was. So the thing was, hysteria continued to be diagnosed up until the early 20th century, when suddenly, interestingly enough, another invention ended that as a false diagnosis because it was the movies that ended it. Because the second we could take films, what did we film?
Sex.
Porn, okay? And it showed me, don't pack up yet, I got 3 minutes left and we're not done. This is just, that we don't end on hysteria. Don't get hysterical on me, okay? So the thing that I'm trying to point out was, they said, oh, the slideshow's over, I'm out of here, okay? Gotta buy me one of those. Okay, anyway, the point is that because of this, the patent medicine industry thrived. But these people were not doctors. They weren't prescribing real medicine. So the rise of a new set of organizations, professional organizations such as the American Medical Association, these associations created an important component, licensing. Okay? So what it meant was if you wanted to practice as a doctor, you not only had to have a degree as a doctor, you also had to have a doctor's license. Right, okay, and as a doctor's license, then you had to do that. Similarly, not only did you have to have a doctor's license, but further, you also had to have another situation. For example, if you were a lawyer, you now had to go to the Bar Association. So this began to get rid of the quacks and all that. It's going to kill the patent medicine industry. That and some other things that are going to make you actually label what's inside of things. And as you might guess, if you have to label what's inside of something, that's going to cause sales for this sort of stuff to drop when people really realize what's there. Okay, but the value of this, and here's where I want you to ponder. For most of American history, what is our model of the family supposed to be?
Mom, dad.
Yeah, dad works, mom stays at home, kids go to school, right, all that. In most families, did just the father work in most of American history? No, okay. And most of the time, the whole family worked in agricultural society and industrial society. The family had to work. Only the upper class could have the man work and the woman not do so. The rise of this professional middle class meant that for the first time, women of the upper middle class are going to not have to work. And they're going to start going to associations, women's clubs. And these women's organizations and women's clubs, at first they just do things like play whist and chat and other things. But they become involved in these social causes. And it's these women's clubs with middle and upper class women that are going to become the backbone of particularly the social progressive movement. What allows for all this to happen? A new crop of women who have the resources, including the resource of time and money, in order to be able